Hello, one and all, and welcome back to more EML Formula 2. This is the Italian Grand Prix, and what is the third to last round of the season could prove to be something of a day of reckoning as far as the championship is concerned. First of all, a few things to clear up before we get into it. Yes, there are two drivers in the lobby. I believe we've had some lobby issues, so we're going to have to get a new one set up very quickly. Yeah, we should just get all the invites in as soon as we can and get things underway. Second thing I want to clarify is that I will unfortunately be solo for tonight. We weren't able to get anyone else in, so we're just going to have to run it with just myself. But I'm sure it will go just fine. I'm just going to wait for a bit of a I'm just going to wait for a little bit before we do indeed get into it. And as I mentioned earlier, this Italian Grand Prix that's coming up very, very soon could well be a bit of a day of reckoning as far as the championship is concerned. I know that there's been a PSN update, so maybe that explains some of the lobby issues. I'm, of course, just waiting for a lobby invite myself. And then that's a little downtime before we do get things kicked off for tonight. Let's run through how things are looking in terms of the championship. And well, certainly our championship leader Dirtamo, who has, to be quite frank, ran away with things up at the top. He leads on 118 points then from HMW Fleddy on 67. The only one that really seems to be in somewhat contention for the championship as it stands, and even that is a little bit on the frid. Hitty occupies P3 in this championship from Siege 4th and Noisy rounding the top 5. They're on 53, 51 and 50 points respectively then. And the 6th position is Maze on 43. He is followed by Mike on 40, Scuba on 37, Reds on 32, and Saru, the race winner from last time out in Belgium, sits on 10th place at the moment on 30 points. And I'm just going to have a quick check to make sure we are going to get some lobby invites. I'll get into the lobbies. Yeah, there we are. So we should be able to get things. I may have held people up a little bit, so my deepest apologies for that. But yeah, that should be us just about in now. So we will just wait outside. We should get started very, very shortly. There's all the drivers in for tonight. And of course, that was the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. Outside the top 10, we have Tom LD on 29 points. And he's followed by 3 reserves of Old School, Funky Chicken, and Conte. They're on 24, 22, and 20 points, respectively. Behind that is Casper P15 on 17, Invictus 16th on 14, Cam 17th on 13, and then Cliff and Charlie tied on 12. Corboy rounds at the top 10 on, or the top 20, I should say, on 11 points. So that's how things stand heading into this Italian race. As I mentioned, is the third to last round of this season, and I just realised I have very good connection to everyone but the lobby host. Hopefully that's not going to be too much of a worry. But yeah, so should get underway very, very shortly. Again, I will just about keep you guys up to date on how things are unfolding in terms of the lobby. We haven't quite got started. In fact, I can confirm now that we should be starting in about 3 minutes at 5 past the hour. So we'll just wait for that along the way, although I am assuming that the league admin Maze has made a mistake, because he says we're starting at 8 minutes past 5, and yes, he has made a mistake. We will be starting at 5 minutes past 7 UK time, as I mentioned, about 3 minutes from now, so we'll just have to be patient, sit tight, before we do indeed get out on track at the racing that we all love. We should see very, very shortly, so yes, thank you for your patience before we did get things sorted out. Now, to run us through some of the championship permutations for today, Dirtamo leads Fleddy. They are the top 2 in the standings, and the gap between them currently sitting at 51 points. And I can tell you now that after this round, there's going to be 66 points on offer for a win, the pole position, and a fastest lap. 33 points to the round, 2 rounds remaining. You can work it out from then. Therefore, Dortamo, who has more race victories, Flitty, without a victory so far this season, has stood on the podium in all but one race. So very, very impressive consistency from the Dutchman, which has kept him just about in contention. But of course, Dortamo, who has won all but one of the races, has that very strong championship lead. And yes, he's also looking very strong. But he may not wrap it up at this round. If Lady has just another solid showing, like he's done, like he's managed all the way throughout the season, that could certainly spell good things for the Germans. Let's see how things are going to work out. And as I mentioned, that gap is 51 points at the top. And P3 is Hiddy. He's not out of the championship either. As it stands, he sits on 53 points at the moment, but he can't afford to be outscored by Dortamo, otherwise he is out of the championship hunt as of the end of this round. But the majority of the field's still in it, but I imagine it's going to need a bit of a small miracle for most of the drivers that are out on track. We should just about be seconds away from getting into it. Of course, we are racing at Monza, the famed, the Temple of Speed, here in Italy. Of course, it's one of the most iconic. It is the oldest, one of the oldest racetracks in the world. I think it's the track that has hosted the most Formula One Grand Prix over the years since the championship's inception, all the way back in 1950. Yes, that is what we got. These guys are going to be tackling. You're going to see some of the highest speeds, the highest average lap speed on the calendar. I believe only 11 corners, but some of them so iconic. And it is deceivingly technical, it must be said, as Monza. You could certainly go wrong here, particularly at these at the first two chicanes, particularly that second chicane, Della Roggia, heading into the middle sector, and the Ascari chicane as well. Those corners can be very, very tough. Then you clip a curb, you just drive it a bit too aggressively, and you could be spinning it right around, and your race over. And those are the small margins of errors these drivers are going to have to put up with. But my connection to Honey Badger, the lobby host, has sorted, and looks like we're going to be getting into things now, just about as the drivers do begin to ready up. We can now look towards proceedings here at Monza. So 3 rounds to go, including this one. Of course, after this race at Monza, we're going to have Singapore and Brazil to cap off the season. And so that's how things are going to unfold then. And those tracks, very unique actually, from a lot of what we've been seeing. We've been seeing a lot of the high-speed, more classical tracks on the calendar. And when we do have Brazil, it is Singapore that's going to be that interesting one. Then, of course, a straight circuit. That's going to be one that could throw a spanner in the works in terms of the way that the grid is going to fall in. But of course, it's going to be fascinating to see how things unfold in short qualifying. And it's a relatively short track, not by distance, but by lap time, because of the enormously high average lap speeds. And so we should be able to get quite a lot of runs in from all the drivers. It also can very possibly rain around here. So that's going to be more to look out for as well as we look towards short qualifying. And so we're going to look to try and get into it then. 18 minutes, as I mentioned, in front of us. And so we will get things started. Of course, the driver selecting their tyre strategies before we get into it. And now, as we reveal ourselves to the world, what are the conditions these guys have to put up with out there on the racing circuit? It is going to be serene winter, bright and sunny skies at the Temple of Speed to put up with. We have 15 drivers then looking to take on this iconic racing circuit. So let's see who the first driver out on track is going to be. And so we'll see who's going to be the first driver out. It is one of the Alfa Romeos that's leaving the pit lane. Cam it is who exits first then. He is going to get out on his way then. You can see the other drivers, I'm sure, going to be following on then. Cam has opted for the medium tyres. That's a strategy I often see him run, actually. Not just in EML, but other leagues that have commentated on him as well. And so he looks comfortable to run that strategy in a track where, I must say, tyre degradation is pretty low around here. But he is going to opt for that and just, I imagine, get a bit of a safer lap in. Yeah, so let's see what he's going to do. Of course, on the out lap then, several drivers going out on the soft. So Cam's going to go out on the mediums. First off then, and he's going to get things kicked off. So we'll get a bit of a tour of the Monza International Circuit when we see him coming around then to start the flying lap in a few seconds' time. I'll be back in a little minute then, just need to sort something out. So until then, we'll watch the Alfa Romeo, and when he gets on the lap, we'll see him thunder around this iconic circuit. And so, to Parabolica, NTL Cam is going to get things kicked off here in qualifying, opening up that DRS. Down the front straight then, of course, getting up to crazily high speeds at over 340 k's an hour. Onto the brakes, and direct to Filio then, getting it stopped into second gear then, keeping it pinned in on the exit. Third gear through, keeping the track, and away it goes then, up towards Carver Bizamoto, or Carver Grande as I'm just going to call it. Now, heading into right around towards the second chicane. Coming up now is going to be the De La Roja chicane. You can see using the curves nicely on the inside. Oh, the gravel then. I told you how easy this corner can bite. And it is bitten for the Alpha Man. And he is going to indeed back off that fire then. So Cam, indeed, has decided to opt out of it. We'll look further down the road to Honey Badger, who now approaches the Lesmo corners at the other end of the Grand Prix circuit then. Uses as much of the track as he possibly can. Downforce tested through here. High speed corners. He's just about able to keep it on lock then. DRS open for the second time on the flying lap, heading up towards the famed Ascari complex then. Onto the brakes in a turn 8 then. Be very careful not to hit the rear end. Step away from you, through the exit he goes, and Honey Badger just about able to hold on to the car as he now prepares himself mentally and physically for the final turn at Parabolica. You get on the brakes, you fleck it out, and then it keeps on waiting. Be careful to apply the throttle, but as early as you can, use the outer turf on the exit. And Honey Badger now going for the lane, and it's going to be an 18-7 to kick off the session from the Racing Point man. So Honey Badger it is who gets things kicked off. And then we wait to see more lap times coming in this first phase of the session. And you can see the Red Bull Casper crossing the line, and behind is going to be the Mercedes Amaze. He crosses a little bit slower than Honey Badger though. It is a 119.2, and Scuderia Seb, we saw it impressive. He's been in the past. He storms to that provisional pole slot then on a 118.277. So the Red Bull driver steps up to the mark for now. Then over Mike. I don't think that time's particularly representative for the Welshman in the Ferrari. Tambo, of course, the runaway championship leader, is second at the moment. Just 2 tenths on pole, but Scuderia Seb making a really nice early impression here and going to the top for the moment. Out there on the track, Scuba then, who fought for the podium last time out in Spa, getting himself onto the brakes for the Parabolica. I think it's a little bit wide of the apex, but gets on the throttle as early as he can. Now to the line that Scuba is going to go, but I don't think that was too representative. It is a 121.5 for the Irishman and the Williams car. Next up, McLaren of Penny again, outside runner in the championship order. To the line is the McLaren. It's P3, just behind one of his rivals, Dertamo. It is going to be a 118.5, about 600 down on the lap time of the German at the moment. And the AlphaTauri holds down P2 for the time being. Scuderia Seb comfortable on that professional pole, but we'll see if anyone else can step up to the plate. Tom LD came over the line. It's a 120.5 medium tires though, so don't dig into that time too much, it must be said, at this stage. But it looks like we're all quite settled down in the session. Scuderia Seb running up the board in the first runs in the session by just under 2 tenths of a second from Zertamo in behind it. And so the Williams man heading throughout the lap. You can see how he's going to approach things. We saw the tremendous speed this man had last time out in Spa. That thrilling battle for the win with Dertamo, where he held off the championship leader's late charge. Now the Williams man is going to look to try and go at it yet again here. Getting another strong qualified to give himself a good run in the race, and up towards the lane, and Saru is going to get things kicked off, and qualifying opens up that TRS. What's the straight line speed? That it is going to be colossal, as it always is at Monza. 344 k's an hour onto the brakes, into the Rettifilio, but he cuts the inside, and you can see that curb that he's just clipped there, and so Saru will unfortunately not be able to get a lap kicked off. I think Noisy validated through Parabolica leading up to a flying lap. We'll keep an eye out on Cam then, who is going round this time on the soft compound of tyres. So 6.5 minutes to go. 6.5 minutes gone in the session, I should say. It is the Red Bull man on top for the moment. But of course, a lot more to be seen. Many more times to be put up there. The question, the everlasting question is going to be, who will succeed and who will fail? So let's see how things are going to unfold. And Cam heading through that first sector. Should be looking at a high 25 for the first sector. It is a 25.9, just about on the money for NTL Cam. Locking it up a little bit then. Heading in to Del Roger, but keeps it nice and clean through the exit. You can see him avoiding that gravel as he did the last time around. And keeping that momentum going through the Lesbos, of course. Going to be fully committed. Can't afford to let the rear end step away, but he's able to just about hold that car together. As Cam for the moment there. You can see a couple of other laps going on at the moment then. Some drivers out there. Cam 52.1 to the middle side. A slight hesitation heading into a scar. It just keeps it within the white line. Wow! He was pushing this up with the track limits, but it's just about able to keep it in bounds, keep it in range. 330 kilometers an hour onto the brakes yet again into Parabolica now. Clean run through the exit, not the most committed though, and he is going to continue on right to the line as Cam, and it is P4, just a few hundredths down on Henny's lap time then. 18.531 is the mark from the Alfa Romeo man. But a lot more lap times coming in. I see some out laps going on, but also some lap times looking to get put down. Charlie is just a few tenths down on Cam to the middle sector. He comes up to the line. He'll be around Honey Badger, and he is just behind Honey Badger then. 18.838, just under 1/10 of a second down on the Racing Point man. The first lap time in the session for Honey Badger, so you imagine track evolution could well just about play into his hands then. Saru is going out again, then again he's pretty much on the pace, going through that middle sector, picks up the throttle through the exit to Saru, and now to the line. The Williams man goes, where does it put him? It's P5 just for the moment. And so Saru putting himself in fifth then. Much good to race out though, because I know he's got a lot left in him. Let's see what the second sector is looking like then. Crosses the line, it is quick, it is very quick, it's 2/10 up, and an already blistering pole position lap, and he's going to have a bit of slipstream on the run towards Parabolica from Fletty. He's able to just get a little bit then from the right, who backs off on an out lap now to the final corner. Goes to reset, really attacking into the apex, and does the car hold through the exit? Yes, it does. And so it's going to race him. To the line he goes, and is it an improvement? Yes, it is, and an emphatic one at that. Scuderia Seb to the top of the timesheets. 117.9 is a stalking lap for the Red Bull man. But we still have a lot more to be seen then. More lap times to come in. I saw Scuba, he was on an out lap at some point, and Saru's out there at the moment, so a little bit quiet, but there's Tamo, he's backed off one, unable to get it in, but now Noisy is on a decent lap now, getting one kicked off. He's a 53.4, his first sector wasn't the best, the second sector, much better though. The AlphaTauri just about able to hold it together, now heading up towards the final turn. How is Parabolica going to be for the AlphaTauri? His teammates on the front row who want to get close to him then. How's the run? And he just about makes the apex over on the inside. Short shift to sixth. Not allowed the rear end to step away from him. Noisy now coming to the line. He crosses P7 right in behind Honey Badger. But Honey Badger himself down to the line is flying. It's P2 on an 18.2. Big improvement for Honey Badger. Front row for the time being. So Honey Badger putting himself right in the mix then. We're seeing Fletty, of course, who's driven so solidly all the way through the season. You can't imagine that there's going to be a bad lap time here. Fletty crosses the line, goes sixth on an 18.5. 3 thousandths down on Cam. My oh my, is this a close fought session. All the way down to the wire. Looks like this one is going to be the Ferrari of Ivan Mike. He's backed off his flying lap then. 19.3 at the moment. It's just shy of Maze's time at the moment on a 19.207 for the moment for the Mercedes. They currently run 9th and 10. 9 drivers in the 18s or better. 1 driver just going to race into the 17s as it stands here in qualifying. His teammate Casper has just got a lap kicked off as he heads it through Carver Grande for the first time on the flying lap. The Red Bull comes up to the first sector split. 26-1 is roughly in line with what we saw from Fleddy, so we can see they try and eke out a little bit more from this sector as he heads in towards Lesmo 1 then. It's a little bit of a slide from the rear end. It's complaining all the way through the corner. Just keeps it on the line. Just about keeps it valid as he continues through Lesmo 2. This time, much, much cleaner. Now, DRS over. You can see the speed climbing then as you head down and then up into a Ascari, but I think that run through Lesmo 1 did cost him dearly. It's a 52.7 through the middle sector. A lot of curve to the last part of Ascari, but he is able to just about hold it together and keep it alive. Now, to the final turn, a parabolic, a 333 k's on the entry, just about keeps it in tight. You can see the rear end still complaining a bit through the exit from Casper, but now he finds his run to the line. But I think that you saw that error through Lesmo 1, that cost him. He is 11th on a 19.2, but I said there is a lot more speed in the tank. So Casper currently down there. Tom Elson a decent improvement then. We didn't see the best back lap from him, but he does jump himself into the 118s, the 118.986. And although he's P10, usually that's not a great place to start, but inside the top 10, a bit stronger this time around compared to what we usually see, I would say. So I wouldn't exactly complain at all with that position. We are at a bit of a quiet point in this session. Just about 5 minutes to go. Saru's on another one, and a strong first sector. Half a tenth of a second up, then just keeps it out the gravel. Out of De La Rogia. Wow! You can see he's a former race winner. He is pressing everything to the limit. The question is, can he hold it together through Lesmo 2? He's just been able to keep it clean again with DRS opening. Hitting it through the kink, heading up towards Ascari. Let's see what the middle sector split is. Hit the 51s. Wow, Saru's on it. This may well be, but he's invalidated on the exit of Ascari. Oh, that is gutting for the Williams. It would have been a great run at potentially if it's going to race his full time with a strong final sector. Ultimately, though, unfortunately, it's just not to be, and Saru's going to have to go again later on to try and step up to the mark. 4 minutes to go now in qualifying. Think a little bit quiet out there. And Ivan Mike has got a lap time kicked off. He's very strong in the first sector at 25.9. 3.5 tenths up and just about keeps it clean. Head through De La Rogia as well. Now into the Lesmo 1. You can see the camber helping him turn into the corner. Rear end complains. Just about keeps it in line. How's the run through Lesmo 2? Comparatively cleaner. Lesmo 1's been causing a lot of drivers a lot of issues at this stage of the session. And so through the middle sector split, he has a 52.4. Still, he has lost a little bit of time, but it's still up on his flying lap. He can put himself up towards the top 10, then not using all the road though on the exit of Ascari, maybe not with the best run. Heading on to the straight towards Parabolica. We saw cars just over 330. He has got a little bit more straight line speed in the Ferrari. Now, down in the fourth gear, short shift to fifth. Now through the exit, it's over for Mike. Has he found time in that last sector? Crossing the line goes 11th. It was all first sector, but ultimately he wasn't quite able to find time throughout the rest of the lap, so I remember Mike 11th. But of course, with free choice of tyre for the moment, and I don't think he's going to find any improvements at this stage in the session. Championship leader Tom on a flying lap now in the AlphaTauri, and it's quick to the first set to 25.8. How's the run through De La Rogia then? He gets as close to the gravel as he dares. Bit of oversteer then. He unsettles it over the curb, but it holds together then. How's the car through Lesmo 1? Nice and steady. Lesmo 2 next up then. A fast corner through the entry. He holds it together then, using a bit of the AstroTurf to maximise the width of the track now on the DRS. Hit again towards the Ascari then. Middle sector split, pops up then, it's a 52 flat, it's quick but it's not the quickest, and he's a bit hesitant, heading through Ascari. The car's complaining and he slides it out wide to Sertamo, and out goes the championship leader, and he is in trouble here. He's gonna have to try and go again and improve on that flying lap. And so a bit of unnecessarily pressure, you have to say, has been put on Dirtamo to deliver the goods set in this qualifying session. A lot of drivers on outlaps, a few more looking to get out on the track. Of course, everyone, bar Dirtamo, who has actually elected to not go for another one. He is content with P3, but is that P3 going to be help on the AlphaTauri man? Mike out the session as well. He sets to the 11th at the moment then. A few drivers behind. Look, try and displace him. P11 not as strong here as at most other tracks, but he'll certainly look to try and make the most of it. And these guys, I imagine, will be shooting for top 10, the likes of Maze, Casper, Scuba especially. We saw the pace from him earlier in the season. We're watching Reds at the moment in the Rhino on a lap for the moment. Most of the others on outlaps though, looking to get some lap times in further down the line. Now Reds coming up towards Parabolica, as I think we saw an improvement. That was Cam who went second. Sorry I didn't see that, but Cam putting himself onto the provisional front row of the grid then. So Reds, only driver not on the board. That's what we'll put him there then. To the line is the Rhino. It's a 19.7 though. Puts himself in P14. He's going to give his teammate behind Flenny a real two. Heading down towards the first corner. So Flenny is on his way. We have a lot more drivers on laps as well. I think Casper's on one there. Decent enough run through the middle sector. He's looking to try and put himself well within the top 10. And big oops it over the Scurry. Wow, he did an amazing job to hold on to that one. And still, just about, the Red Bull holds together. Now, towards Parabolica, just under 200k for the apex then, working his way out towards the exit. Casper now going for the line in the Red Bull from 13 to 12th only. Wasn't able to put together the last sector that he'd hoped and dreamed for. Oh, Honey Badger fractionally up. He's going to search for more. He is going to hunt for that front row spot on the grid, then try and put himself up there. Now as the clock expires then, the last lap times to come in. First up to the plate, Honey Badger crosses, not quite able to top Cam's time, so he settles for third for the time being. Now Flenny looks like he's made an error on this lap then. Will be unable to improve, unfortunately, at this stage. Behind is Maze, his teammate tracking him down the track now as heading towards that final turn at Parabolica. Then as Maze then working his way up towards the exit. We've not seen an improvement from him from early in the session. Maze now up to the line, he crosses, goes 12th, replaces Casper. His teammate Charlie goes 7th on an 18.6, just in front then, as I think we had Tom L. He crossed the line and the racing point. He put himself at P7, running out of lap times to come in at the end of the session. Looks like we may well just about beats on then. There's a Red Bull, it's good to ASM coming up to the line. First off, the Williams of Scuba on the mediums though is only 14th. It's good to ASM backs off the lap. Can anyone else top it? Saru will be unable to get the last lap time, and now that will Noisy and Casper's backed off. That is qualifying in the books. I have to admit, not too many improvements at the end of the session, but Scooter ASM storming to pole position, 2 deads clear of the field, otherwise very close to the field, which makes me think we have a great race and prospect for you guys in just a few moments time. But Scooter ASM puts himself up the front of the grid. Cam is going to be next to him. Honey Badger though, watch out for him, because that second row so powerful with the immense slipstream towards turn 1 at Monza. So there we go, qualifying wrapped. Now we look towards the Grand Prix. 27 laps are still in front of us, so do not go anywhere. Let's run us through. So let's get to ASM. Cam on the front row and Honey Badger behind then. On the second row he's joined by Henny. Behind that is Dirtamo and Fleddy. Top 2 in the championship, but unable to quite find the goods in qualifying. They're going to have to fight their way back then. Tom L and Charlie on the fourth row. The fifth row is Saru and Noisy. 2 drivers who I also suspect would have been looking for more. And Noisy actually with a 5-place grid penalty. Even worse, we're dropping back through the order. Other Mike is P11, Maze, Casper, Scuba, Reds. They round out the grids here. Reds will start from the back, then Noisy will start from 14th, everyone else promoted. Mike starts in a good place, and free choice of Taras from P10. I would take that any day of the week. But now we look towards the Grand Prix of Monza. The Temple of Speed awaits us. So let's get into it. We'll see what the weather conditions are saying. And again, I did mention that it can certainly rain around here. So let's keep an eye out. Nope, the rain gods are not looking down on us. We have bright and sunny skies here in Italy, and so we can get this race underway. And so we have some of our championship front runners starting a little bit further down the grid, but right next to each other. Makes us, I'm sure, and promise of a fantastic race coming up very, very shortly. So now, let's get into it. We'll see what the tyre choices are like outside the top 10. I'm seeing a couple of hards, a couple of mediums, and the garages then to the right hand side of the screen. But we'll see what these guys are really going to be opting for then. Really going to try and throw down heading through this Grand Prix. 15 drivers taking on the tempo speed then as we look to get into it then. Formation lap, of course, will be first up, and then we can get into the race proper. Of course, everyone inside the top 10 on those soft tyres. And there we go, then we get underway. As a matter of fact, we're going straight away. I didn't even realise. Right, Scuba off the line then. And from the road, oh, massive contact and Honey Badger out at the front. Scooter race Seb pulls clear to the first corner. A massive, oh my god, I have no idea what's happening. Casper went flying in there. I have no idea what's happening. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if maybe this is some sort of restart that's going on here, because that is, quite frankly, one of the most horrible things I've seen on track. And I'm not exactly sure what was happening then. Casper just didn't stop at a turn 1, so I'm not sure if I'm not sure exactly what happened here. You can see them making contact. I do imagine that there's some sort of restart here, some sort of new session, because that is unlike anything I've ever seen in all the time I've been commentating. Yeah, I don't really have much to say after that. I'm guessing there's going to be a restart then, as it stands, because that was rather odd. I'm terribly sorry. I'm terribly sorry about this. I'm just rather baffled by this. I'm not sure if the race is going to continue to go on there, because I did see Casper literally go flat out. So no formation lap. I'm sorry about that moment of confusion then. But looks like it's going to be a restart then. We are going to well, I assume we're going to get a new lobby. I'm terribly sorry to you all for the technical issues that we've been having tonight, and I'm sorry about my coverage over that. I just literally had no clue what was going on. So I guess now we just wait. So we'll yeah, we are going to get a new lobby. So everyone just sit tight. Hopefully we get everyone back in then for this race. So yes, I'm just going to tip from the lobby, and the viewing numbers have spiked just as we have a bit of a duff start there. But yeah, we should actually get underway within decent time. I'm also very sorry that I wasn't able to get the tyre choices up on stream. I was fully expecting a formation lap then, so I guess we'll just have to trust all the drivers to get the right tyres on. So yes, we're just gonna have to sit tight. We should get, I imagine, Honey Badger, or maybe May's hosting. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. In terms of the lobby, we have had a couple of issues, first with invites, and of course with what you just saw in front of your eyes. But eventually, we should get things started for this Italian Grand Prix and put on the show that I know you guys all deserve. But we'll just bide our time. Wait before we get things on the way, and then we can get things started. So sit tight, we should get the Italian Grand Prix underway relatively shortly. Right, so I'll give you guys all the updates that you need and deserve. I'll just make sure to keep you guys posted going on. yes, yes, Cam, it's career mode. We don't talk about that, okay? Yeah, so I'm assuming that we will get a restart done and we can get the racing underway. To all you guys, yeah, again, apologies for the delay. But should get things started very, very soon. So, yeah, that was very intriguing. Of course, we'll get a custom grid, I imagine, set up before we do indeed get into it. I'm just quickly checking that I don't have a lobby invite. No, we don't just yet. So yes, we're just gonna have to wait, sit tight. But yeah, of course, looking at how, of course, how things unfolded in that qualifying session. That was, of course, a very dominant pole position from Scooter Racer. Very tight grid, though, in terms of the lap times, for the most part, so that makes things very exciting further down the line. But, of course, Cam, Honey Badger, Hedy, Dirtamo, Fleddy, that is a very intriguing group of 3 drivers that are going to be on the grid together. So, 4th, 5th, 6th on the grid. And, of course, 1, 2, and 3 in the championship. Dirtamo, Fleddy, and Hedy. We are going to get things underway this time with Dirtamo as lobby host. Yet again, of course, we did have some invitation issues further back, so hopefully this is going to work out just fine. Yet again, thank you all for your patience. See the weather set to light cloud then to mimic the conditions from earlier on, so we should should be no rain, pretty much guaranteed for the race. Custom grid, and so we just message to all the drivers, just try and comply as soon as we can, cooperate, and then we can get the custom grid set up. It's actually Honey Badger hosting the lobby, just their Tamil that gave me the lobby invite. And so thank you very much, Honey Badger, for looking to get things sorted out here. And I get setting up a custom grid. I know how frustrating it can be, so just make sure we get everyone in here as soon as possible. And then we can get things kicked off, up and underway. So, we just have to wait out there. Again, thank you to everyone that's stuck around. But looking towards the championship permutations in front of us then, I can't say I'm fully aware of how things will unfold, but the real objective is for these guys, because essentially it's hard. Well, because Dirtamo already has 3 victories this season, whereas Fleddy, his nearest contender, doesn't have a single one. So if Fleddy outscores Dirtamo by 15 points, or by 15 points exactly at this round, then but doesn't win the race, he has to outscore. He has to not get outscored. Sorry, if Dirtamo outscores Fleddy by 15 points, he wins the championship essentially. We'll see how that unfolds then. So Fleddy, of course, who is starting right next to him on the grid, will be looking to try and keep himself in contention. Although I imagine it's championship fight, because it is a rather tough mountain to climb for anyone behind. So I imagine those guys, Fleddy and Hedy, at least of Siege as well, who's right in that fight, they'll be looking more for each other. For some of the guys that have joined late, like Scuba, Saru, they may well be challenging for that as well. Of course, we saw the form that these guys possess, just so they've missed a few races, but they're going to look to try and get themselves in there. That fight for second in the championship is going to be most intriguing heading in to those final few rounds. And so we just have to wait and see. Of course, we just wait for Honey Badger to ready up then, and then we should just about get things up and underway. But yes, we'll keep half an eye on that championship fight. It's unlikely it's wrapped up, but certainly possible. And so we'll see if that is indeed going to come through. These guys take on one. So of course the advantage that the guys that qualified inside the top 10 have, of course, is that they now are going to have completely fresh tires that they, of course, didn't have to do qualifying on. So that is going to play to their advantage slightly, not by very much, but it will just make that little difference in that first stint. Of course, especially as Italy is still quite a low tire degradation circuit. It should just about keep these guys in it. Of course, watch out for the strategies, and there's not too many variations around here. But dare I say it, the soft runners are probably going to be pitting around lap 8 or so. The medium starters are going to be, because I don't expect the hards to really be in use for this Grand Prix, the tire degradation, unless these guys get damaged on the first lap or very early they pit for hards. But otherwise, I don't expect to see the hards in use, at least starting the race. So if you're on, so I think you're going to be seeing outside the top 10, probably mostly mediums, maybe a few soft runners. I think I did see a few soft runners in the last race. Of course, there's not really any hard evidence as to what tires everyone has used. I guess for the guys inside the top 10, we're just going to have to make sure that they all comply, and I'll make sure to check that on the actual stream itself. So now we just wait. We are now actually getting into it. So again, thank you very much to everyone for complying, nicely allowing Tom to get everything set up with a reverse grid. So thank you very much to Tom or Harley Badger for getting it set up very quickly. And so a bit of a delay, but we should now get into it. Of course, we are, I imagine, fortunate that Italy by time is the shortest track on the entire calendar. It may sing poor Dan. It hasn't been easy, it must be said, but we now will just about get into it. So let's get things all kicked off then for what is going to be the 8th round of the season. It is going to be at Monza. Of course, that outside chance of the championship being wrapped up, we'll keep an eye on it. Of course, it is going to be Scuderia at the front of the grid, so watch out for him to try and maintain that on the run to turn 1 and through the remainder of this Italian Grand Prix as well. And so we look to get into it. 15 drivers that are going to be lining up on the grid for this Italian race. It should only last about 40 minutes, barring any safety cars, so I'm guessing it's probably not the worst track to have some lobby issues at. But now we go. So we should be guaranteed dry weather. There it is then. The conditions pretty much mimicking what we had earlier. Everyone's going to have to make sure they get their tyre selections done as quick and as soon as they possibly can before we do get into it. And so, just about 20 seconds before we do get loaded into the race. 27 laps ahead of us at Monza. And of course, with a very close sprint in qualifying, who knows how this race is going to unfold. But we saw the blistering pace of Scuderia Seb in that qualifying session. He's going to try and use it to good effect then come the race. As now we line up onto the grid now. Let's just make sure we don't indeed have a formation lap. We do have a formation lap, my apologies. We will get that underway. And so looking at that, looks just about fine on the tyres then. Of course, Ira Mike is starting on mediums inside the top 10. But he did get promoted due to Noisy's grid penalty. So that will explain why things do look a little suspicious for the Ferrari. But that is a perfectly legal choice to make. He himself, Casper, Scuba and Reds, they opt for the medium compound tyres. The softs, the more aggressive strategy from Maze and Noisy. And of course, everyone inside the top 9 on those softs, which, as I mentioned, no tire degradation on them, so they may stretch them a little bit longer, maybe to around lap 10ish before they decide to dive to the pit lane. Of course, maximising their run on the softs just because you have a bit less wear on them. And so Scuderia Seb leads them around. Cam alongside him on the front row. We're going to see how things are going to unfold with the Red Bull leading it then. Everyone looking to keep it clean on the formation lap. But let's see how things will unfold then. 15 drivers, as I mentioned, heading up towards it. Of course, we saw a little bit of ridiculous driving last time out. Of course, it was quite an unexpected start for the drivers. So I think it should just about work quite fine this time around. But now they look to head to the grid. Cam alongside in the front row. He's going to be desperate to try and snatch out there and launch off the line. Very important round here, because that's such a long run. If you're on pole, you can't afford a bad start. You need to be on it. You need to be perfect if you want to hold on. But the two men on the second row have came together on this formation lap. And so they're going to be starting on slightly compromised tyres. Not by much, but they will be suffering slightly as now they come towards the grid. And so, well, the Red Bull man hold on to that pole position with the Alfa Romeo right up alongside him. The championship contender starting further back in the order. We have a fascinating prospect ahead of us for the Italian Grand Prix as now the rear of the grid settles. 50 drivers then, all lined up, locked and loaded, ready to go then. Scuderia set, Cam on the front row. Now we look towards the lights coming on then. Who's going to lead it? Heading into the first corner as we prepare for the start of this race. Assuming it gets underway, we are just sat on the grids here, looking to get things started. I'm not sure if we have anyone that is... anyone that's decent with a lobby or something, because we may well have to wait for someone to leave. I'm not sure who that is. But there's no gaps behind Honey Badger and Mike, so I'm not sure if there's anything going on there in terms of it, but it looks like we may unfortunately be having another issue here. So yeah, I think that someone is bugged out. Of course, it's impossible to say who it is at this stage. Maybe it's me, maybe these guys have already got back out of the way, but as it stands right now, we are simply sat on the grid. Again, not sure who the issue is actually with. I'm seeing a few ghosted cars actually then as the timings to sort themselves. I think it may well be Tom Ellis. He was the only driver that wasn't ghosted there, and he jumped further up the order. We do actually now get things out of the way for the Italian Grand Prix. We are 5 lights. And at last, we are away here in Monza from the front of the grid. Scuderia Sep gets a great start, runs away from the front, and spearing off to the side, and it's contact with Noisy. And I think it was Casper, off as well in the Red Bull and Avatari. Into the first turn, you can see it heading on the inside of Honey Badger then. Locking wheels to the racing point then. Through the exit, Yellow's compromising, running towards turn 1. We have drama then at the start then. But no such dramas to the front row. They get away cleanly then, as Henny gets through on Honey Badger, who looks towards the inside line, heading into Della Rosia, breaks on the inside line, runs out of the road then on the outside, through the gravel, and almost spinning round, he collects the waves of sorrow, and spinning across the track. It is chaos, debris everywhere at the second chicane, and it's Honey Badger's slab of oversteer that comes across the track. Tom L and Saru have been caught up in that one, and they now move to the back of the field. Huge leg damage, what drama here on the opening lap in Monza. The front row get away cleanly, heading from Deltavo from Fleddy, and then Scuba, cracking start, 6th position on the medium Taurus. He is flying along very nicely here. Maze on the back of Oliver Mike, of course. He is looking for early progress here, as so much wing damage further down the order then. Noisy going off. Charlie's been caught up as well. It is manic stuff then, as Maze the inside line, he gets through on the Oliver Mike. He's going to try and fade back in the Ferrari. You can see cars pulling towards the pit lane early in the race after sustaining damage. I think Mike may have a little bit of damage then on that front wing in the Ferrari. Watch as he comes across into the right-hander. Yes, you can see that front wing with a bit of it chipped off there on the end plate, so that's not going to help him one bit. That's front row though. The top two have pulled clear from the front of the field then. It is good race there from Cam then, and had he been unable to quite live with them, he got involved in that battle with Honey Badger on the first lap, and it was indeed the racing point that came off worst. He's into the pits with Noisy, Sarah, Reds, all the drivers that got caught up in incidents on that manic first half of the first lap then, and Monza, and all of a sudden things threw very much up in the air. But the championship contenders got through just about cleanly. Scuderia Sip still leads though from Cam, chasing him down second. Hedy's trying to rally at P3. He's going to try and stick with the drivers in front to make sure that he isn't set back then in this early part of the race. Cannot afford to lose the DRS. Tamo trying to hang on in then, and Fleddy actually dropping back a little bit more further down the order. And so Sarah, Honey Badger, Reds and Noisy, they're all opting for the hard tires, which should make the end of the race, but will certainly not be what these guys are going for. It's now over making Casper fading away through Parabolic, and then round the outside of the Red Bull, down the inside of the Ferrari, over the line now it is the Red Bull in front then, down the front straight, and he does get in front, but the slipstream is back from the Welshman, who fakes back towards the inside into the right field, and there's Yellows on the road then. I think there's a spinner of Maze potentially in the Mercedes. Yellow's still there, it's around the outside, and Casper holds onto the place from Harbour, but Micah behind and who has to slow it behind. Still the yellow sound, and this time with TTML or Noisy that's going off. That's actually Reds who's going up from Mascari into the wall, and safety car deployed here on the third lap yet again. Things thrown well up in the air here at Monza. It has been utter chaos from the moment that the lights went out, and dare I say it, from the moment the lobby got underway. Safety car deployed, the field bunching up early then, and what a crazy evening that we have had. But as in the end, the front two have held possession in, and of course the other three championship hunters that we mentioned sat up behind them. But it does allow the guys further back. Flaherty was actually being detached. He gets to close down this gap, as does Scuba. But what will the race leaders on the subs go for strategy-wise? Will they come in early here? Scuderia Seb is going to dive in, as is Cam, as is Hetty. They're all going to go in there. Tamo looks to jump at the pit lane. He was lucky not to get a penalty, and Scuderia Seb a penalty. Coming together with Cam. I'm not sure what he's got that for. It didn't look like they touched at all then. But Scuderia Seb, a baffling penalty. But if he doesn't have to pit again, he can get that removed then, because it is that stop and go. But Scuba does stay out. It has this cost him strategy-wise that he does have to pit again. Maze and Charlie, the two Mercedes, they've went for track position. Scuderia Seb it is from Cam and Hetty, barely down the pit straight. It's going to be not Ivor Mike, sorry, my apologies then. I did see a car heading down that pit straight then. But looks like they all emerged roughly in lead. Scuderia Seb and Cam, they both received penalties for coming together heading into the pit lane. I don't think that's really cost either their races, so I think they're both going to look to get those penalties removed, but that's not going to assist them in this Italian Grand Prix as of yet. It does also allow some of the drivers that picked up damage on the first lap, they can work themselves back into the Grand Prix, and so they can get themselves into it. But it is Scuba that leads then on the mediums, and I don't think he'll be happy with this safety car. Is he going to go for hards? He could have done, but now he's giving up too much track position. Looks like he is just going to continue on here at Monza from the leader of the race then. He's got the two Mercedes of course behind on softs. They've got a bit more grip underneath them. They are going to look to try and fly up to the Williams man. Looks like we won't get underway on this lap. Scuderia Seb is of course leading the hard runners, but he is going to be vulnerable. Of course, everything can change once the restart comes into play. So they're doing the order. A bit of a swap in position there. Tamo's gone off. Tamo, a man who has looked faultless the entire season, off in the most bizarre position on the safety car. I remember May goes past them then. So Tamo has dropped it in such an unusable position. Looks like he's got away without wing damage, but now the AlphaTauri, a major setback, and now in his quest to wrap up the championship, he now has it all to do here at Monza, as now into the pit lane goes Casper from those hard tyres. Not sure what happened there. Maybe he came together with another car, picked up some damage, and is just willing to go in again. Actually, he's going for mediums. Interesting call from the Red Bull man. Those tyres may well get to the end of the race. And so Casper, interesting strategy then. But it is Scuba that leads then from Maze, Charlie, Scuderia Seb, Cam, Hetty, Flaherty, Sarver, Mike, Samu, Honey Badger, Noisy, Casper, TTML. That is your grid, that is your running order before we get back on our way. Should it get underway at the end of this lap, set tight, we'll get back to more racing. And in lap 5, we'll get green flag action back underway here at the Italian Grand Prix. And yeah, TTML actually, I'm not sure. I think he's decent in terms of position here as the Racing Point man, because he actually, now I say it, he does jump out in front of Reds' car, which I think was crashed at Ascari, not Lesmo 1. So I'm not exactly sure where the Racing Point man is. If I look at gap to the leader, it doesn't really say anything. But Casper is still looking to rejoin it, but I think we should get back on our way on this lap then, heading up towards the Sky. The safety car, as it stands, is still staying out. Casper is actually driving around pretty slowly at the moment there. Maybe because he not allowing this to get underway would play to his advantage. I see what Casper is doing here. He doesn't want the race to get back underway because he wants to give it a lot more time. He wants to allow himself that opportunity to get these tires to the end of the race. So he's purposely setting off this and not allowing the race to get started. And so the safety car, as I say, late call, it goes in then. So Casper has got close enough, and now we get things, whoa, drama on every turn here at Monza. And Scuba applies the throttle, power is clear, and the Mercedes are running parallel up towards the line and side by side, then slips in behind it. Cam attacking, Scooter intercepted as Charlie round the outside of Mace towards the first corner. They're going fast across the track then, looking for ways through. Charlie round the outside of his teammate, looks for a turn two then, they fight for the exit, but Mace gets the traction through then. Scooter attacking, Cam holding off a charge, preventing it, his overtake didn't quite come through. There's Charlie right outside of Mace, under pressure from the Red Bull man, who looks up towards the outside end. Full course yellows again at Monza as Mace cuts in front of his teammate, gets a penalty early in the race then, but he is able to just maintain that P2 as Scuba flies away up the road. The Williams, he's looking very, very strong up there. There's no Sarah to the inside line, cruises past Fletty. Great recovery drive so far, and he moves his way up past the Renner, and then he tries to tuck in to that slipstream behind it, but Sarah holding him a beat it. Noisy that remain, cruises past the Ferrari. The AlphaTauri is as you like, gets himself out of P10 then, and trying to chase on to his teammate up the road then, who himself is attacking Fletty all the way through here, who lost that place to Sarah. He's going to try to strike back then. Noisy with a tiny penalty then, heading over Scary, sending back his race no end as it stands for the moment. But Scuba leading and leading comfortably. That's exactly what he needed to pull out that gap, and now control the race in the front as the Mercedes still go at it here. Charlie it is now, to the inside line of Maze. Is he going to get through here? Braking quite possibly late, then can he get a stop for turn one? He runs deep and Maze is back underneath him. Gets the place back then, and now I think he may well actually let his teammate through then as Charlie went straight across. Now, that's going to allow Scooter Race in through as Cam going to try and pull through. Charlie's down on momentum here, so now to the inside line, Scooter Race is backing up because these guys, they can't overtake each other. It's a full course yellow, and so these guys are getting illegal overtakes there. They can't race each other, so the lobby, I think, is completely bugged out here. None of these guys can race because as soon as they get through, you can see they're getting illegal overtakes. They have to let each other through. This, I've got to be honest, it's quite a bit of a shambles there. Full course yellows for, dare I say it, no particular reason. Honey Badger has left the session. He's retired from the race now. Tom L is still going about it. I must say, it is almost impossible to commentate over this then. This is quite possibly the most bizarre lobby I've ever commentated on. You can see back here, Dertamo and Fletty going in it then. Dertamo through on the inside line, and is he going to stay in front then? As now DRS enabled after the safety car restart, but the full course yellow still standing here. But watch here, as Saru attacking Henny. Henny himself trying to get up to Cam, looking to the inside line as the McLaren then, and now the Williams trying to follow through on the inside line is here then. Locking wheels at Cam, who runs it round the outside, will hold on to the place now. Wait as Henny and Saru gets underneath the Williams man, putting his way through. And now getting up in front into Carver Grande. Will he hold on to the place? And looks like he will just about be able to race in, as now he looks towards Cam to the inside lane of De La Roja. Doesn't quite get through, as now we do have a migrating host, and now at last everything has sorted itself out. So we can now at last get back to racing here in Monza. I do apologise for the massive technical issues that we've had, but it looks like we can get things underway proper now on lap 8 of the Italian Grand Prix. It's still Scuba leading, and leading well, pulling clear up the front then, 2.7 clear of the two Mercedes, still running in tandem and formation. It Mays a little bit offline, heading through the Ascari chicane, but just when it holds on to it, these Mercedes are holding back on the subs. The hard runners behind then, who will stop at nothing to chase them down. It's Dertamo now, lining up Hennies, going in front of his nearest rival Fletty, and now looking for more then on the rear wing of the McLaren. They pick up the throttle, heading out of Parabolica now, onto the main straight, and again is Charlie attacking his teammate with DRS then. Mace not covering the inside lane. Charlie's far alongside then. He just needs to get it stopped and turned down on the brakes, then Mace is much later on the brakes, so much more confident, and runs it clean around the outside then. Falling back down the order. Dortamo trying to get up to Eddie then. Can't get through his Fleddy, losing out. Noisy diving through daringly, and the AlphaTauri moves up then, as Charlie still going at his teammate, but Maze is the equal to whatever his Mercedes teammate has to offer, and still maintaining that second place. And so still Maze from Charlie then, as Kuba continues to pull clear up the front then. This is monstrous pace, as now Fleddy and Noisy into less, but one looks like they almost come together. Sliding, we saw the AlphaTauri just held on to the cars on the overtake. He's eager to fight back and reclaim this place up towards the Scari. To the inside lane is Noisy, and he's gonna get the move done on Fleddy. Cuts the inside though, gets a penalty to Noisy then. He gets the move done, but at what cost for the AlphaTauri driver? The soft tires beginning to fall away from the Mercedes now as Scooter ASM holds in on TTG Charlie, but on the floor early. Coming in a Parabolica, drops time, and now Cam trying to get up to him. He's drained the battery at the back of the Red Bull, but he's certainly not giving up on this one then. He hunts him down as out to the outside. Charlie again on his teammate, as now Cam looking to the inside lane, breaks incredibly late for turn one. They make him in a contact, and he just holds on to it as Maisie again holds back Charlie, who simply cannot get through. It's going to race him in the wings, waiting, watching, seeing if there's an opportunity here, and still Maze and Charlie go at it. What a fantastic battle these guys are having, and still the guys behind have to be so careful, so wary, so cautious as they sit. And behind that, Cam will look for any way through. It's going to race him. Both these guys, of course, nursing those penalties that they picked up through the pit lane. As now Scooter ASM just made his time. He's got almost a full battery, which he is now deploying. So Scooter ASM now attacking Charlie. City is into the sky. This would be phenomenally brave. Can he get it from before the corner? He breaks late. Yes, he does. Scooter ASM brilliantly in a P3. And now it's up to Cam to try and follow through here. Up behind Charlie. Scooter ASM attacks Maze, but Charlie has a bit more battery to hold it back. Dortamo now and so those two going at it again. To the inside lane. Dortamo breaks lane in a Parabolica, meets the apex, the way gets through this time. Dortamo up past Saru, as now Cam attacking it to the pit lane. Goes Maze, leaves Scooter Race at the front of the train with attacking intentions for Charlie behind. It's Dortamo cruising around the outside, and he's ready to this place, and into the back. Saru, he hits Cam, he runs into Cam, and damage now, damage for the Williams man. Headies round the outside, an utter disaster for the man who drove so perfectly last time out at the Belgian Grand Prix. Now, slipping back to the order is Saru. Right back in the moment, and Heady gets through then. So that's better disappointment then. And the wing damage just says he's going to be unable to just misjudge his braking point heading into that first corner. Scuba still leads and leads by a good margin, but Scooter ASM now on a mission. If he can get her to DRS, he can now start to try and pull that 5-second gap. But Dortamo somehow is now right in the thick of things, right in this race. Char though still has a lot of pace left, but I suspect the pit stop is going to come on this flying lap. Maze went into the penalty for mediums, a long way back. He's going to try and make some waves now. It's now Heady making the error. Heading off a Scar, using free places then. Through goes Saru, Noisy, Fleddy. They all jump up there. It's Noisy now with more downforce underneath him. Attacking Saru, looking to the inside lane. He's going to be careful here because Fleddy is right up with them both now. As far up the order then. You can see them all moving past there as Charlie to the pit lane then, but Heady now attacking Fleddy. Fleddy trying to get up to Noisy. More yellows then Saru out the race. Now to the outside end. Can he outbreak the rail then? Going deep on the brakes in the turn one end. He just about keeps it together. Running around the outside. Fleddy a penalty. Through goes Heady now. Up in that second place then. Casper's a behind now. The medium tires now. Finally put it to use as round the outside of Carver Grande. It is going to be Casper sweeping through Fleddy. Up in a 7th place. Now Fleddy it is. who slips back to the order now. Into P8 then. He's suffering at this midpoint in the race then. You can see now Charlie and Mace again going at it now. In 10th and 11th. This time, Charlie just about gets the better of his teammate and now runs P10 on the road. And these guys try to chase down Meg. It's a few seconds adrift of this mental pack further up the road. Scuba and Scooter Ray 7. The pace seems to be pretty equal then. Scooter Ray 7 doing everything he can, but he is not yet broken at DRS. To the Everts charging their Tamil behind, who is driving superbly yet again and staring at a potential race victory here once Scuba comes into the pit lane, of course. You see, he has not made a pit stop just yet. He has to come in even if he can get these mediums to the end, which I doubted anyway. But Scooter is set from Dirtamo and further back down the order. Heady trying to attack Noisy, who's drained his battery to the fullest. And now the McLaren driver has an incentive to attack, to throw everything at it, and Noisy locking up, heading in at turn 1, then through turn 2, how's the exit? It's not the best, but neither was Heady's, but still he puts on the overtake. Still, he will charge, he will fly, up towards Stella Roger then. Noisy covers the outside lane, to the inside goes Heady then, into the second chicane, is getting it through, or does he? Noisy, Braver on the outside, over the curb, force him wide, and now Casper doing the inside lane, heading from attack to the fence, to losing the place to the medium short Red Bull. Up goes Casper, and now it is Noisy in front to challenge, but Heady isn't done with just yet then. Trying to attack, and he's a championship contender, but with DRS for Casper, he will hold on, he drains his battery to chase down Noisy up in front. Of course, the overtake will not go through just yet. They still has to wait in the wings then, as it's still Noisy in front. But you said when DRS comes into play down the pit straight, that is when the Red Bull man's going to make his move and try and claim himself up into that top 5 further up the order though. Cam fading back to their turbo here. He got in that DRS, but now he is suffering slightly, trying to keep pace with the blistering, the electric Scooter ASM, who's on form tonight. Now Casper on Noisy to the inside line, is going to cruise through surely, unless Noisy's braver on the outside. He's going to have a crack, but surely not then. He's one of the road, makes cords out of Casper, who's way through turn 2 and Noisy back underneath it, reclaims P5 here. Now Heady trying to attack Casper through cover Grundy, looking for revenge. Can't quite get through this time. He's going to look out for Flatty, who is right in there behind as well, but Noisy still holding these guys back. Casper has got more grip underneath him. He's got the medium tires, but still Noisy at the helm of the train is holding on from the charging Red Bull, the McLaren, the Renault, who look over poised to make their moves. We've got yellow flags inexplicably down the main straight. Not exactly sure what's happening there. Where's Tom L on the track then? He's heading through the Lesmo, so I'm not exactly sure why those yellows have been deployed. They now get removed as Scuba now, the medium's beginning to scream from underneath him. The gap beginning to come down now as Scooter Scepter, Tamo and Cam look to try and chase him down before he comes into the pit lane, as Scuba's going to have to do. He's going to go for softs, I imagine. When will it be though? And how far can he fly up the order? You said he'll come out behind Ivan and Mike. But can he make the charge then with the fastest tyres later on down the lane in the race? Dirtamo's managed to rescue himself. He gets up towards Scooter ASM. Cam not quite all over him yet, as Heady now are trying to attack Casper. Casper though will be all equal to it, and Flanny just waiting in the wings, poised for any which way to get through here. But still, the opportunity not presenting itself as Kasparov! Kasparov drops it on the traction on the overtake button, and now hitting the cover Grundy. The medium tires betray Casper, who now slips down the order. Does he have wing damage? I think he may well have just picked it up then. You can see it there. Just got a bit too trigger happy. And Casper, that's gutting. We'll have to stop again, and now he, you imagine, is just about out the running. Here in Monza, barring a miracle to the inside lane over Mike. Into Lesmo 2 will get through easily then, and in the end, the Red Bull man just has nothing to defend with, and through goes the Welsh. Remember the P8 then, so several drivers suffering early in this race, and it has been a race. It's been an evening of attrition, you have to say, here at Monza, with now coming up with 12 laps to go in his skill super leaves, but now as the pack behind chases him down, he yokes to the pit lane and diving in goes Scuba. So you sense there's going to be the mediums going on then, and let's see where he's going to emerge. How is this battle for the race league going to unfold? Now Scooter Race 7 Cam, they both have 5-second penalties, but you said, I predict they'll get those removed, so D'Artamo is going to need to fight for these ones. Out there on the track then, he is going to have to work for another race victory, but the championship maybe will be possible. Fleddy at P6 with a penalty, you said, doesn't have much hope of getting much higher. As now through the pit lead, as comes Scuba then. Out of turn 2, he emerges some 6 seconds shy of either of them makes 7th place. Now looking to go up and on to the hunt. So Scuba and behind us, heading on the inside of Noisy, gets through in the 4th place, the last of McLaren gets through then, and heading out in front of Noisy. He's got just about the same amount of battery, but can Noisy fight this back? You said so, he is simply too far away with DRS. Into Ascari as the wait is turned. Scooter Race then is promoted to the head of the train then, the top of the food chain in the race. He leads their time with Cam, and they all set poised then. They both the front two did a good job of saving battery. Cam, conversely, has struggled to live with this pace and briefly dropping in a DRS just to rescue it. But things looking a bit more dire for the man that qualified up in the front row in the grid. That Cam is going to have to really dig deep here to stay in contention. Heading now from Noisy, half a second clear. Really clear down the street as Scuba is absolutely flying on this outlap. 19 seconds off the lead. I don't think he'll get that, but he's caught 2 full seconds on the Arthur Mike. Pulling clear and moving up the road. This is brilliant from Scuba. Can he make it work though? How far up the grid can he climb? Maybe even P4 could be possible. As D'Artamo honing in on Scooter Race set, bit of gravel kicked up from the Red Bull. He is still pressing to the limit, pushing everything out of that car. But still, he's unable to quite eke out that gap there. But if we were to off Lisbon too, he's pushing with everything he has as a pole center. But D'Artamo will not go away. He refuses to get dropped, and he still has so much battery. Scooter Race 7 has as well, but it would be almost unwise to use it and give himself less defensive capabilities from the chasing championship leader then at P2 at the moment there, with an outside chance of wrapping up the championship here as now it is Henny, Noisy, Fleddy all together out on track then for that P4 spot. And Henny's still enough to hold back to sustain that P4, but Fleddy is looking ever threatening on the rear wing of Noisy, punching out. Oh, Parabolica, and let's see how this is going to unfold then. Noisy's still got a decent amount of battery though, as Fleddy comes in. Well, that is surprising then for Loretto. He opts for the pit lane. Very intriguing then, as now Mike crosses. Scuba, this is surely fast lap at 20.7. Wow, up to 7th as well. Scuba is on a charge. Let's see what he can make of it then. I still believe that P4 may well be possible, as D'Artamo now honing in a little bit more on Scooter Race 7. He's got to try and watch out for Cameron behind us. Now Fleddy will emerge to the pit lane just shy of Charlie, just in front of Mason, and Scuba falling away, and it is easy pickings for the Williams, who moves through in a P6 then, about 9 seconds off. Noisy in front now. He's going to go on a charge. Does he have enough laps left in the Italian Grand Prix to take this home? So it is Scooter Race set, D'Artamo, Cam, Henny, Noisy, Scuba, Ivan Mike, Charlie, Fleddy, Mace, Casper, and Tom L. That is your running order here in Monza. As D'Artamo pressure, Scooter Race set, 3 we pick for them. Who's going to come in on top then? 10 laps to go in Monza. It's Scooter Race set for D'Artamo, but who knows how this fight for the win is going to unfold. Over the line they go yet again, and still D'Artamo waits. He isn't throwing everything at him just yet then. He gets right up to Scooter Race M. If he really wanted to, he could have got through. But just like in Spa, he is content to just sit on the rear wing of his rival and wait then. It's still Cam giving everything there, but he's on the edge of that DRS then. It's going to really, really work to stay within it. And so D'Artamo getting right up high, but he's almost teasing Scooter Race M as Cam with a penalty, compounding his woes. And this foul at the front of the field into the Alfa Romeo is going to really struggle to stay within and give himself a fighting chance with 8 seconds of penalties. 5 of those should get removed. But even so, his winning chances seem to be fading away. He's given it such a good effort. A podium should still be on the cards, but Cam, I suspect, would have wanted so much more. Now a miracle, you suspect, is going to be needed for the Alfa Romeo man. Bit of a twitch from the rear wing then. The rear end of Scuderia Seb is lively as they now head up towards Parabolica. And Dertamo is sitting that much closer. Is this going to be his run of the race either? It's going to be said now. Coming off a Parabolica then. Still not using his overtake. And still, Dertamo sets him waste and it's Flaney cruises past Charlie. He gets up in 8th place. That just makes Ascari. Just gets the place done as now. To the inside lane. Dertamo's going for the race leader. Getting it done. Into the first chicane. Squeezes his way through and Scuderia Sam cannot hold him back. So Dertamo now to the race lead by half a second now. Can he try and stretch that out? You said so. Scuderia Sam has enough battery, has enough speed to stay in contention and still have a fighting chance with 7.5 laps to go. Here at Monza, Dertamo leads in. Can he hold on to this? With Scuderia Sam and Cam still chasing him down. Cam still around the edge of it then. Is he going to get DRS on this run towards Ascari? No, he won't then, and that's going to really set it back. Further down the order, Scuba still flying then. 5 seconds to Eddie and Noisy. Does he have enough speed left then? Does he have enough tyre grip to chase in the 2 guys in front and wrap up P4? You sense that P5 may well be in order though. May well still be on the cards. Dertamo leads Scuderia Seb still then. And Scuderia Seb gonna fight back. Both these guys are pretty much a full battery then, as now the overtake mode deployed briefly and then set back as Dertamo I think deployed a little bit himself then. These guys not in their best interest to push it all just yet then, to put it all on the line. So it is Dertamo who leads, locking up into turn 1 then. Watch Scuderia Seb here as he sets up behind him. Clean exits is what he's going for. A little bit of overtake when he can deploy it. Is heading now with a time penalty. All of a sudden, throws a potential P4 right into Scuba's hands here. He is floating this race in, and he's rewarded despite a compromised strategy. Scuba is driving absolutely superbly at the moment, and it still now has those position in front. And sight then. 6.5 laps to go. You can see Dertamo holding on at the front. And Scuderia Seb doesn't want to leave it too late, just like Dertamo did in Spa last week. But he is poised for any opportunity to present itself. He will throw himself into. Still Dertamo in front then. He's holding on. But you can see that great run through a scar there for Scuderia Seb. Is he going to try straight back? Does he want to be leading this then? Do either of them want to be leading this race then? As the yellow flags make a bit of a reappearance down the main straight. It has been a very peculiar evening, but still a very action-packed one at that. As now, heading off. Oh, Parabolica then. We'll still see this 7 more times in the race then. Over the line, lap 22 as underway. And still these guys all set, poised, all waiting for anything to open up then. A little fade to the inside line from Scuderia Seb. But still, Dertamo holds firm up at the front. And of course this could be big for the championship as well. Him looking to wrap up this race victory out there on the track then. Could well see things out from, of course we still have 2 rounds after that. 66 points on order. Now his nearest rival Fleddy in the championship currently in 8th place at the moment, with possibility of getting in front of either Mike as it stands. Could well try and use that to good effect. So if he is able to get that P7, he'll score 13 points, but if Dertamo wins the race, that's not going to matter. Dertamo, if he wins, barring a miracle for Fleddy, Fleddy needs to get in the top 5 here, and ultimately, I simply cannot see that happening, especially as he has a penalty to his name as well, as now Scuba working his way into range of Noisy, almost into range of Eddie. Wow, he is fluid. He's driven so superbly as Scuba. And now, despite the tyre grip beginning to fade away, it should still be 4th place on the cards then for the Williams man. That's a good effort. That's good to be Seb again. Just hinting at that overtake mode, but Dertamo has a lot of straight line speed. And he can use that to good effect. Those low wings maybe help him out there. Maybe Scuderia Seb will be enticed into going early then. but so far he cannot strike at him just yet. Cam is a little bit adrift now. He just hasn't quite been able. He's been so quick as Cam, but just not quite to the same level as the drivers in front. He's pushing everything to get back within that DRS, but I don't think it's quite going to come through. So let's go back. Ezra then relatively noisy. Those softs are definitely running out of grip a bit here. And so maybe in the last few laps, the hard runners are still got a bit of tire life left in them. Can still make this work. 4.5 laps to go here in Monza. The fight for the win intensifies and the battle never been greater. But still, Scuderia Seb, the man at P2 in the race and the pole setter, he looks so dominant pace-wise. Still, fades his time. Is Dertamo now with a time penalty to his name. Now this is critical to Scuderia Seb. You can see it there, he has 5 seconds of penalties, but I believe that's going to get removed. Dertamo does not have a prayer getting those ones removed. It's now Fletty on over Mike. Cruises through it, now he's got a big effort to put in here to try and work his way through. And as I say that, Ivory Mike with a penalty may well just cement things for Fletty. It may well just about be P7, but unless Dertamo loses it, but Dertamo, now the pressure from Scuderia Seb. Scuderia Seb now has a run at the race win here. So Dertamo, with 25 points, he's getting for this race with second place it stands, unless he can somehow pull out a race victory. Means that Fletty only needs 10th to stay in the fight. And so, that could well spell great things then for Fletty if he can just hang on in there. But Dertamo, we know he has still got, I'd say, 9 fingers on the championship trophy, but it might not be today. Still gonna give it everything. Don't forget Scuderia Seb get a penalty as well, and that would swing things right back into balance. So Dertamo hasn't won this just yet. He does lead by 4/10 of a second though. Out on the track, Scuderia Seb though cannot be complacent. He cannot afford mistakes. He needs to stay on it. Now coming up with 3 laps to go. 3 laps to just keep it cleaner. Is he going to attack Dertamo, or is he just going to sit then? They have pulled clear of NZL Cam. He's being reeled in from the cars behind, but he should still just about be fine. As I say that, gets massive oversteer off Parabolica, but he will just about hold on. As now Scuderia Seb, he used a bit more battery then, heading down the main straight, looking to the inside lane. Is he going to dive it on the brakes then? Scuderia Seb waits, and Dertamo still holds on. He makes the apex, he keeps a hold of that P1 then. Scuba's made more inroads on the drivers in front. He is now just about within range of Hiddy. So 4th place could still be in order, and Hiddy actually could well look at potentially getting right up into that P2 in the championship fight. And don't forget about Scuderia Seb as well. In that race winning fight, and with a potential race victory in hand, he is going to catapult himself right up the championship order as it stands as well. I believe Scuderia Seb isn't on the board yet, so this will be a great opportunity for him to make his mark. And what a drive it's been so far. He is going to push Dertamo all the way to the line here, and towards the scar. He's teasing him, but the move will not come through just yet then. 2 to go here in Monza. It's been an exhausting evening here with so many issues, but we will now have our conclusion, our fate, as Scuderia Seb lines up Dertamo here as they look towards Parabolica. It's a fabulous exit from Dertamo, but it moves here, the rear end complaining from Scuderia Seb. Now 2 laps to go. They're going to get things kicked off in the overtake modes being deployed in the main straight, but that mistake from Scuderia Seb cost him that one chance of getting him on the road. He still has to wait. And so the time with Scuderia Seb, that Cam looks to try and drive home this P2 at the moment. Is now noisy, challenging Hiddy. He's also got a 5-second penalty, which may well be removed. So this pick for P4 may well still be on. Scuba getting up towards him. He may be a bit of a gate crasher then in this fight. Now Scuderia Seb is a bit less battery than Dertamo, but he is throwing everything at it. But he's got to be careful not to get a penalty here, and critically not to let that AlphaTauri out of his sight. Now Dertamo may well win this race in terms of professional results, but that may not be the full story then. But Scooter Seb is attacking into a scoring. Brave round the outside, 2 wheels on the grass. They're level for the race victory here. Scooter Seb's round the outside, runs off the track. They make contact, and round goes Scooter Seb into the wall. Incredible drama here at Monza. They went for it into a scoring. Scooter Seb off the road, and a potential race victory slips away with the Red Bull. Oh my! Now heading to the outside line, and the Red Bull is going to struggle to hold it back now, you suspect. Dortamo is away gone now, and Scooter Seb forces Eddie off and hold the track, and now Noisy right there with them. Scuba in the fight as well, as now Eddie DRS on Scooter Seb, looking to the outside then, looking for the podium on track. That breaks the crowd, but they get squeezed out by Scooter Seb, who holds on to the place, but that was a bit naughty from the Red Bull. Holds on now, Noise right there with them, gets the Perez off the chicane, and now cruising round here, say Carver Grande, scooping up P5 now in the Williams, right up ahead, heading down Scooter Seb. He just left a minimal amount of space to hold on to that podium, but he will be furious. And now Dortamo, things have gone completely on their head here. He's gone the gap in the knees. He can now just drive that to the right. Flady's not going to move up at this point. I think Dortamo's done it. I don't think he's going to get penalised for that then. I think that's just the nature of a scar. Then they came together, and now Dortamo is all but there. He's won all but one race this season, and the one he didn't win, he came second. He has been utterly dominant. He's had to really fight this one. It's make off on the final lap at least but one. But now in the final corner, Dortamo, a winner and the champion here in EML Formula 2. He wins it from Camden. Scooter Seb well hold on to the podium. Cam, of course, getting that penalty served then. And Hetty, Scuba jumps up in a P2 astonishingly. But there will still be implications in terms of the penalties. I think that Hetty, well, Scuba's going to jump Hetty. I think Scooter Seb is going to lose out. The Scooter Seb might get the podium. I think Cam will get on the podium as well. But that was remarkable drama. Tertamo went it. Flanido, he crosses. He's 7th. And assuming my calculations are correct, which bearing in mind they very well may not be, I do believe that Tertamo has just about done enough. We wait now for Tom L, who's just come over the line to get himself over the line. I'm not exactly sure why he's going on. I think it's his AI car. We may well have to wait for the entire 2 minutes before we do indeed be able to confirm the results. Tom L's AI car has been driving around, and I think it has bugged out somewhat, and so we may well have to wait until he does indeed come over the line. That was an utterly dramatic Italian Grand Prix, and I've been on the air for quite frankly too long, but we'll still make sure to wrap things up then. Tertamo, well, it wasn't pretty by any means, but it is a race victory, and I don't think it's a race victory that can really be disputed. So we'll just get things wrapped up. Just quick confirmation. So Dortamo went into this round with a 51-point championship lead. Now he gets 30 points for the race victory. He didn't get pole position, and he didn't get the fastest lap. Who did get the fastest lap though? Let's have a look. Fast lap went to Casper. I believe Tom L will be coming up to the line very shortly. We'll see if it does actually cut out. Maybe still have to wait. But remember, he needed to outscore Fleddy by 15 points in this race, and he got 30 points for the race victory, whereas Fleddy got, for 7th place, got 13 points. So I believe Dortamo has done enough. He outscores Fleddy by 17 points. Actually though, I'll confirm that Hetty is in P3. He was 60-something points off the championship lead anyway, so I don't think he's going to make it, but he may well be close to that 2nd place now. Scuba as well, with P2 on the road. He had an incredible comeback drive, it must be said, but I'm not sure if he's going to hold on to that P2. We are still going to have to wait a little bit longer before we do indeed get things underway. So then 8 seconds left then, and what has been, well, quite a bizarre lobby, but a very entertaining race, it must be said, as well. Here in EML Formula 2 yet again. So that is it then for the Italian Grand Prix. 2 rounds left now in the season. The championship pretty much wrapped up then, assuming my calculations are correct. Bit of incident pack. I have to admit, not the best driving standards generally out there, but for the most part, still very entertaining stuff. There is your podium. D'Artamo on top then. You can see Scuba and Hedy, but I'm not sure if those guys will keep their podiums. We'll have to see what happens with the 5-second penalties through the pit lanes, but that is going to be just about it then. I don't think there's really much more to say. Congratulations to D'Artamo yet again, utterly dominant from the start of the season to this point in it. And so now that is 5 rounds of the 7-round championship in the books then. See the results there. D'Artamo from Scuba, Hedy, Scuderi, Seb, Cam, Noisy, Flaney, Charlie, Casper, Mazer was at the top 10, Mike the last finisher, Tomel, Saru, Honey Badger and Red, not seeing out the checker flag, but I think that's going to be just about it then for the Italian Grand Prix. Thank you all very much for tuning in yet again in EML Formula 2. We'll see you next week in Singapore, but until then, we'll see you later.